Hi guys, welcome back. Today is Rudbeckia starting day. I've got my seed packs ready to go here, but before I get to seeding them, I need to mix up some more soil blocking mix. So I have been using just straight potting mix. You definitely don't want to try to use something like a seed starting mix. It just won't hold together like a potting mix. And the secret to using a potting mix is to sift it first. You do really need to sift it because there are a lot of larger pieces of perlite and twigs and things in it that will prevent your blocks from holding together for a long period of time, or they can also kind of block your blocker and make your squares not form properly. So you do want to make sure you use a sifted potting mix. But I was able to find some worm castings at our local farm supply store. So I have started adding that and sifting it as well along with my potting mix. And I am finding that I do like that better than just the straight potting mix. You can use just the straight potting mix, but I do prefer to add the worm castings as well. And I'll show you today how I get my mixture ready and all the way through to the seeding. So stick around and let's get to it. Okay, so I'm getting my soil ready to make some soil blocks. I just have a sifter here and I'm sifting the soil. So it's going to leave behind, if you can see, some of these larger chunks and sticks and twigs and things, and some of these larger pieces of perlite will get left behind. And what we have down here is just nice, soft, fluffy, fine potting soil. I'm just using this one, whatever I could get. I prefer Pro Mix, but I was only able to get this Miracle Grow, and to it I am adding some worm castings as well. So these are going to be like my compost component. You can do this without adding that, but adding a little bit does make it just a little bit stickier, I guess. It's kind of like the glue. But either way, I don't get into, I have a hard time finding like the green sand and the rock phosphate and some of the other items that a lot of the recipes call for soil blocking. So this is what I do. It's been working for me, and I'm just gonna keep sifting my soil and then I'll be back. Okay, I just wanted to give you a close-up of the kind of material that's left in here. You can see how coarse all of those bits are. So that's why we need to sift it, because these will get caught and cause cavities and holes and things when you're trying to make your small soil blocks. So that's why it's important to remove this junk. And I will save this and I'll add it to you know, the bottoms of pots or such as I go on with the garden season, but it doesn't get included in the soil block mix. And this is what we're left with. Nice and light and fluffy. And just for reference, I got a little bit of the sifted stuff in here, but for reference, I put about 8 spoonfuls of the Miracle Grow potting mix in the sifter, and I'm left with probably, I would say, 1. This would be like about 1 spoonful left. And to the 8, I'm going to add probably 2 or 3 spoonfuls of the worm castings, and that's going to be my mix. So I have quite a bit of mixed up here. And again, it was about 3/4 potting mix and 1/4 worm castings. And this is more than I need right now. So I've got a Ziploc bag and I'm just going to put all of the sifted potting mix and castings that I'm not going to use today in this bag so it's ready for me to go next time and I don't have to make a mess twice. So I'll be back after I do that. Okay, I've got most of what I had ready to go put away, and believe it or not, this is all I'm going to need today. In fact, this is probably too much. I'm just starting Rudbeckia today. So I'm probably going to be aiming for about 4 sets of blocks. So that would give me 80 Rudbeckia plants. And a couple of these seed packets are, this is not the first year I've been using them. So there's only maybe 8 or 10 seeds left. So 80 is probably plenty. The first one that I'm going to be seeding is Triloba. I got this in a seed swap. This one I just bought this year, Gloriosa Double Daisy. I'm excited for that one. I've also got some Sahara. This is an older packet. I think there's only about 10 seeds left of that one. And same with this. This is Prairie Sun. There's not many left of that. And we've got Cherry Brandy here as well. And this is a new pack. So I'm probably growing a lot of these. So that is what we have to seed today. I'm just boiling some water. And the reason I am boiling water, the potting mix that I am using has been sitting around for quite some time. This isn't the first that I have seeded into it, and I do know that there are fungus gnats. So I want to take care of those. You know, as they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and I want to prevent my current problem from becoming a larger problem. So adding boiling water will help to kill any gnat eggs that are currently in this mix. It won't 100% prevent them, but this is just the first facet, and maybe in another video we'll talk about fungus gnats and what I'm doing to battle those. But I'm still waiting for some supplies to arrive in the mail, so we will tackle that another day. But round one is using boiling water to sterilize your mix. Okay, we've got our boiling water. I'm just going to add a little bit at a time. Set that aside. And give it a stir. We're going to need some more. That's probably lots. And I'm going to give this a good mix and be right back. Okay, this is perfect. You can see how wet this is. It's leaving water on the bottom, but it's not sitting in a puddle or anything. But you do want your mix quite wet when you are making soil blocks. So this is still steaming. So I'm going to set a towel over it and let it come back down to room temperature. Okay, so we've let our soil cool down some. I'm going to take my towel off, make sure that it's evenly moist, and it looks like it is. And now we're gonna make some soil blocks. So I've got my blocker, and I'm just using the little styrofoam trays that I've been using. And how I like to make my blocks is I like to start with some in the middle to push my block down into. And I just kind of give it a wiggle. And I find the edges are often where you'll be missing some soil in your block. So I like to make sure that those are nice and filled. And then I just use my spoon to scrape off any extra that's stuck to the bottom and along the edges. And get our, I never remember which way these fit. It's this way. So I like to push the block down onto my tray, and I apply pressure on the handle the entire time, and I will lift up this lever right here. So I'm pushing down and lifting up at the same time. And I'm gentle when I remove the blocker. I can tell that it's sticking a little. I think it was that block causing me problems. But anyway, that's our first set. The other thing I really like about using the soil blocks is some of the seed that I have is old, and you can tell how little soil, like I could probably easily make another at least 40 blocks, maybe a full another 80. So when some of your seed is older, your germination rate can go down, and if you're seeding into cell trays, it can feel like an awful waste of resources sometimes. But you know, if a seed doesn't germinate, you're wasting a little teeny tiny block. So I think that's the main reason, because a lot of the things I'm starting this early are still going to need to be potted up, but I feel much better about wasting this much soil than I do a whole cell in like a cell tray. So the blocks are made, let's get to seeding. Okay, so I've got my first couple of varieties planted in this set of 20 here. Next up is Sahara. I just want to show you what those seeds look like. They're pretty tiny, so I'm using the toothpick method. This toothpick is already moist. I licked it, but if you need to re-moisten it, you can just kind of stick it in your block like that. So let's get these ones planted. They do like to be covered about 1/4 of an inch, so I'm just kind of, that one didn't stick to the soil. So I'm just kind of pushing them in as I do this. They're not wanting to stick to the soil today. Get an extra sticky toothpick, I guess. There we go. Okay, so that variety is done. Now, before I forget, I always like to label, because inevitably I will forget and then I will have no idea until it's blooming. So this is Rudbeckia, Sahara, and today is February 17th. I've started writing the dates. The first couple years I started my own seeds. I didn't, but a couple years ago I did start writing the dates when I seeded things, because it is useful to keep track of germination, which I like to do so that, you know, next year when I go to seed maybe the rest of this package, and if these ones germinate in 7 days and next year it's been 9 days and nothing has germinated, I know that probably this seed has aged and it's no longer viable, and I'm not waiting around for seeds that are never going to germinate. So I have started keeping track of seeding dates so that I can keep track of my germination days, if that makes sense. Okay, on to the next tray. This one is going to be Gloriosa Double Daisy. If there's 20 seeds in here, then I'm going to plant 20. And I will plant 20 of the cherry brandy as well. I think we're good. Okay, that is Gloriosa Double Daisy done. Now we'll move on to cherry brandy. All right, that's it for cherry brandy. And look at that, already I'm forgetting to put my labels on, so I'm gonna do that before I do anything else. And that's our last label. Now, I don't always cover my soil blocks with vermiculite, but I am going to in this instance because this is deterrent number 2 for the fungus gnats. And Rudbeckia likes to be covered, so I'm not worried about covering up my seeds. So I'm going to put a nice healthy helping of vermiculite on top here. Okay, that's it for the Rudbeckia. The only thing that is left to do now is I will take these down and put them under grow lights and under a humidity dome. And we will wait for germination. One last thing before we end today's video. This is just a yellow sticky trap that I'm going to leave here with my freshly seeded blocks, and I'm going to place a humidity dome onto this tray. These are in here alone. So this will help me monitor to, well, one, it'll catch any that maybe weren't killed with the boiling water, and it will allow me to monitor so that I know to act further if I do catch some fungus gnats. So, once some other supplies arrive, we'll get into a fungus gnat video, but just thought I would add that in here at the end. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.